Good morning. Let's see here. Good morning, everybody. I've got Instagram. Good morning. It's Dr. Melissa. Hello, everybody on YouTube. Welcome to our daily natural health news live show. Today, I'm going to give you a whole bunch of news. We've got a lot of new information happening right now, as well as today's topic is really exciting. We're going to talk about letting your lymph flow. For all of you lymphatic patients, individuals who suffer from swelling, edema, lymphedema, lymphedema, or anybody really interested in supporting and fortifying your immune system, we're going to have a very in-depth, I think it's a 7-part conversation today about how to keep your lymphatics moving. And I've actually spent a lot of time over the last 18 hours pulling data, as much research as I could find about the virus and other viruses that are very similar in terms of the impact on the lymphatics. So for all of you joining, welcome. As usual, let me know what city and state you're tuning in from and give this a like, a thumbs up. Hey, Pat, good morning. We've got sunny Central Ohio. And I also sent an email out to my lymphatic community. So we'll probably see a lot more people join us on Instagram or on YouTube. So welcome. And I'm honored to really come to you live every day. This is the Natural Health News Show. And the purpose here is to educate, empower, and enrich you with information as things are moving and changing with core factual epidemiologically based data. So this is really focused on equipping you with resources and tools to make good, healthy decisions. And all of that lies on you, each and everybody individually. But collectively, I think we're seeing where we all, we now have, I think it's 1.3 billion individuals here in the whole entire world who are hunkering down, staying at home. And so for all of you joining who are staying at home, comment hashtag stay at home. Let me know who all is in the same vein as so many of our fellow citizens here in the world. And I think one of the things that is quite overwhelming when you think about it, we're all doing this in every different country. I just saw that the whole entire country of India yesterday or early this morning, they are going into lockdown mode. And one of my, Jitten, who's one of my employees, he handles my website. And so he's in lockdown mode just like us. So he's been kind of laughing at all my live shows, but now he is in this status as well, hanging out at home with his family. This morning, it's a coffee morning. I have to apologize to all you YouTubers. I don't have all my info together, all the links, but I'm going to give you, I'll show you. I've pulled a ton of research, a ton of data. Then I'm going to share with you, and I'm following and monitoring the feed. So comment, ask any questions down below. So what's on tap this morning? We are talking about your lymphatic system and the virus. And I'm going to talk to you about how to basically move, compress, and drain and motivate your lymphatics. This let your lymph flow is really the topic of today's conversation. I'm very excited to announce that we have a video sponsor who is sponsoring today's live show. So this is my friends over at Pura Vida. And I've got links in the description box below for this amazing product. This is a fantastic lymphatic motivator. I'm going to talk a lot about the research as well. So that's part of our conversation today. And they're bringing this live to you all. So very supportive, and I'm grateful for that. So Moringa is also a video that I'm posting tomorrow on our channel. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to dig further into that. So let's go into a little bit of some details. So there's just massive growth and explosion. New York is just on fire. It's over 30,000 cases. I think it was 33 this morning, 33,000. One of the things in the South Louisiana is proving to be a potential southeastern epicenter. And what they're they're assessing is that Mardi Gras, the big social gathering celebrating the start to the Lenten season, Fat Tuesday, thousands of people, converse and head to the city. And they're thinking that that's one of the reasons why we're seeing massive quantities of cases. So, definitely if you went to Mardi Gras, please quarantine yourself. That hasn't really been a national statement, but I think we're going to hear that as they start to chart and track like where cases are coming in those connections. There are people that we're identifying as super spreaders. That remains to be seen scientifically, the connection there, but definitely today's going to be a crazy day. I think there's going to be a lot of news coming out today. So today I just really want to uplift you and empower you. We are okay. Let's repeat the mantra, all is well in my world. I know it might not seem like it, and there's going to be a lot of financial numbers, and the economic impact today is really going to play out with our unemployment rates being beyond what they expected. So I just want you to remember everything's okay, and we will get through this. We have ebbs and flows in life. We have economic ebbs and flows. We have health ebbs and flows. So really the goal is to just calm things down and give you resources this morning that you can implement, all of you. So this definitely is for I think it was 45% who voted on my YouTube poll that they wanted to learn more about the virus and the impact on the lymphatic system. There's data that's coming out just from the kind of lymphedema communities that you're okay. There's no impact on the lymphatic system. But to be honest with you, the lymphatic system is part of the immune system, and there's an immune impact. So I'm also going to highlight, as I go through this presentation with you, I'm going to highlight risk individuals and candidates who fall into a lymphatic risk category that should definitely be implementing this. So my goal for all of you is to reach out to you and help you, and to really impart information that will be useful for you to get through this, and to really maintain that mantra, all is well in my world. So I really have dug into as much research and data. We just are so fresh and so new. Even pathological studies like, some of the tissue studies from the individuals that have passed because of the virus, the medical professionals are focused in on the front lines. And so the pathology reports and looking at the tissue samples, it's still really slow. So I'm making some kind of grand statements and leaps that are not necessarily founded by clinical data, but I think it's safe to assume as this moves forward, we'll see a lot. So sorry, Felicia, I don't know what's going on with my connection. Okay, so welcome everybody. Hey everybody. So give me a quick favor before we go into the full meat of our presentation. Give me a thumbs up for all of you on YouTube. We have 115 joining. I'd love to see 115 thumbs ups. And please hit that share button. For all of you on Instagram, give me a thumbs up, a little heart in the comment box. And we're going to dig straight into how to move your lymphatics and how to support your lymphatic system in a series of, let's see, 5, 6, 7 steps. Okay, so that's what I've articulated today. And, the big thing is we're going to see surges all over our community. I think it's most important we continue to hunker down, stay close to home, minimize your social impact. And if other people get in your space, just be respectful and move away from them. So welcome, Sewing Queen. Hey, Cupcake Paper and Whitney and Anita. We've got Anita in the house, our trucker follower, Shirley and Atleen. So welcome everybody. So any lymphatic oriented questions, just go ahead and comment down, ask them down below. As I go through this, I'll stop after every segment and answer your questions. And as far as on YouTube, this is on the replay. And again, I just want to highlight, we have a video sponsor, or we have a live show sponsor, the Moringa folks over at Pure Vita. They are stocked and loaded for getting this out to you. So I'm really excited. Okay, so let's go into your lymphatic system. So I have, and again, I'll add a lot more links after. I have a free, completely free webinar that I post. And you can take it at any time, and it goes really into a lot of this. So if there are things that you feel like you missed, or you joined kind of through the middle part or whatnot, or can't watch all of it, you can at your own time, at your own pace, take my lymphatic course or my webinar, where you're going to get a lot of this. So I just want to kind of communicate that's what we've got. But your lymphatic system, it's basically an interwoven webbing. It's like a spider web of fluid transport. And we have little lymphatic organs called lymph nodes that are part of our immune response. So when your lymph nodes fire up, a lot of times people think, oh, I just have lymph nodes under my chin, or maybe I have them in my groin. We actually have anywhere between 800 and like 1,500 lymph nodes throughout every part of our body. And your lymph nodes will be connected to every organ and gland. They are responsible for keeping our organ and gland soft tissue, our joints, and all of the kind of soft tissue ligaments healthy and well. So there are two parts to our lymphatic system. We have superficial that sits right underneath the skin. And then we have a deeper channel. It's like a highway system. The deeper channel runs along our spine and stretches out and connects to all our organs and glands. So we have a lot of followers here, and I know you've commented before. Many of you who have had cancer or have had a gallbladder removed, or maybe you've had breast augmentation or some sort of elective surgery, or you have had vascular insufficiency, which is a really common cause for lymphatic impairment, lymphatic flow challenges. All of you will be greatly impacted by this information. But one of the things to know is that your lymphatic system is an intelligent system all to its own. The challenge with the system is there's no pump like our heart that pumps the vascular channel, or the cardiovascular channel. The only pumping mechanism we have is movement. And so a lot of times movement is going to be limited because we're in, kind of a hunkered down phase. So I have some tips and resources for you to implement. And so one of the things that my free webinar does is goes even further into the logistics. I'll save you the anatomy course and all that good stuff, but just know your lymphatic system is the largest system in your body. It's one of the most important systems. It has two core functions. It is the garbage disposal. It gets rid of toxic waste. It's the only way we get rid of cancer cells. And we all have them. It's whether the cancer cells actually grow, but we remove cancer cells through the lymphatic system. We remove fat through the lymphatic system. And it's a fluid-filled system that is comprised of a lot of dense proteins. And so sometimes those proteins get like sticky, they get like sticky rice, and we have flow impairments. So the garbage disposal toxicity point is key, and kind of keep that in the back of your head. Feel like you're in a toxic state, your lymphatic motivation is going to be key. The second role the lymphatic system plays is it is your immune connection. It's your immune response. Those little lymph nodes house lymphocytes and other immune-oriented cells that get triggered when we have a pathogen or a foreign invader and your body goes into the war status. Like I mentioned yesterday, your body's at war when you have a viral or bacterial invasion. Well, that war is put on and conducted and orchestrated by your lymphatic system. And there are lymphatic organs. The spleen is a lymphatic organ. The thymus gland. Did you guys watch my thymus bumping video? Comment down below. Let me know. Instagram, I posted a really great video. It's the second one of its nature, but there is a gland right around here called the thymus gland. When we're born, the thymus gland is actually bigger than our heart, and it's there to help support the baby, the infant's immune system. And as the baby grows, we evolve, the heart actually gets to be a bigger size, and we don't necessarily need to rely on the thymus gland for our immune response. Well, when we need our immunity boosted, you can do a thymus bump. It also calms the body down. It releases happy chemicals. It's pretty phenomenal. So I share a DIY thymus tapping. And so I'd encourage you to check that out. But the thymus gland is part of that. The lymph nodes are a big part of the lymphatic system. They're these little round, they look like, I call them pea-shaped little glands. And they, most of the time we know them up here in the neck and the throat. Our core areas where we have clusters, we'll have 20 to 80 clusters of lymphatic nodes underneath our armpits. We'll have them in our groin, and the lymphatic system moves opposite gravity up to the heart. So the heart is the central plane. So head, and the neck drive down to the heart, and everything below the heart drives up. And the arms go to the axillary, so the armpits. So that's kind of a quick little overview of the lymphatics. But the essential component is detoxification is part of it, and immunity is a part of it. So if anybody has any type of impairment of your lymphatic system, then we need to motivate that. So we support both your detoxing process as well as your immune process. So that's kind of the little gist. I want to get into foods to avoid and foods to eat that will help motivate your lymphatic system. This is crucial when you feel sick. It's crucial when you don't feel sick. So anytime you want to motivate your lymphatics, these are the foods to avoid. And then we'll talk about the foods that are enhancing. And I have some examples here as much as I've been able to kind of grab. So foods that we call it congest. They clog your lymphatic system. And also, by the way, ladies, a clogged, congested lymphatic system can lead to bloating, abdominal fluid retention, mild genital swelling, as well as cellulite. So if you experience any of that, that could be a factor. Okay, so foods to avoid. Sugar is not lymphatic friendly. Dairy is not lymphatic friendly. Gluten, so any gluten products, that's not lymphatic friendly. Then we also assess alcohol and caffeine. Those are not lymphatic promoting foods. And then also, because a lot of us are hunkering down, I know a lot of folks are grabbing, off the shelf items like bologna and sandwich meats and, bacon and, things that are going to be packaged. A lot of packaged meats contain preservatives called nitrites and nitrates. And we actually will see some of those in wines because of the sulfates, the preservative. Those preservatives clog and congest and demote lymphatic flow. So we want to promote lymphatic flow to support your body's health and wellness. So those foods particularly are things you want to wipe away from your daily diet. Now, we're in a unique status. I don't know if any of you are out there, but I have arranged my pantry. I know the inventory of every food item. I have ideas of my meal plans. And then Brian cruises in and he starts eating stuff. He starts opening up packages and I'm like, what are you doing? So the challenge is we are, many of us, grabbed what you could because the shelves were limited, or you're hungry down like us. And I have shoppers that, maybe once or twice a week, I kind of add things. I'm mostly keeping my fresh produce and fruits and kind of our essential items on stock. So it's limiting and, that is a challenge. And so I'm conscious and aware of that. So in the event that you've got some of these things in your diet and you're like, well, I just spent, $50 at the grocery store and what am I going to do? If you have to try to limit your intake of especially sugar is not great overall. And the indicators, some of the contraindicators of this virus, sugar is not great for your heart health either. So, that's like a whole, let me know if you want me to do that video, the heart health component, because there's a big connection there. But so processed foods are in a lot of the categories. So a lot of your processed foods, we don't even realize that dairy powder is in processed foods. And so for a lot of you joining, I don't know how much you know about my background, but I am both a naturopathic physician. So I study natural medicine, naturopathy, and naturopaths, we focus on addressing the root cause of illness and disease. And then before I did my naturopathic training, I also have a master's in nutrition. So I studied for 2 years how food can heal your body while I was a sick individual. And so food was healing my body, as well as a whole bunch of botanicals and herbals, while I was in my master's program. Then when I moved to my doctorate program, I was living up in Boston And it was through my clinical time in Alston and Brighton. That's just a town kind of sandwiched between like Cambridge, Massachusetts, and Boston, where I did clinicals. That's where I gained my lymphatic exposure. I worked with a clinic that was working very closely with Dana-Farber, the cancer facility up in Boston. And they also worked very closely with the School of Public Health, the Harvard School of Public Health. We're seeing a lot of those public health officials at Harvard being interviewed, the epidemiological professors at even Boston University. They're in the scene right now. So I know some of those folks. I have friends that graduated from the epidemiological program at Harvard. And I worked really closely with these individuals because we were doing clinical work in conjunction to grants that the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute was conducting. And the lymphatic component was what really intrigued me. So as a naturopath, we're all about fortifying your body. I use my nutrition, get core micro and macronutrients, fortify all your amino acids, get all your antioxidants, get all your minerals up, get all your vitamins, really, really bolstering your system so you're optimized through nutrition, and how to optimize the nutrition through the digestive process. But then on the flip side, we need to detox. We are toxic people. And so the lymphatic training and exposure really pushed me into going full-fledged and learning lymphatic therapy, learning how to work with lymphedema patients. I do a lot of post-surgical work. I work with a lot of plastic surgeons, particularly in Florida, plastic surgery pretty much year-round, Brazilian butt lifts and facelifts and rhinoplasty and burn patients and individuals that we're dealing with all different types of cancer. I work closely with the Cancer Institute in Tampa. So I have a big background in terms of food, nutrition, and the lymphatics. Okay, so lymphatically speaking, I've been certified in lymphedema and compression therapies, and also teach. I educate PTs, I educate nurses, pharmacists, and some of this that I'm presenting to you is actually some of my work that I educate professionals that you all might be seeing if you have lymphedema. So I say all that to kind of bring it together where your diet and your food intake not only supports your immune system, but it can cause toxicity that clogs your lymphatic system, i.e. your immune system, your immunity. So there's a direct correlation between staying healthy and being detoxed, or being able to have your organs and glands detoxify themselves and stay optimally well. And that's where we look at kind of, cancer factors, being as toxic free as we can, limiting our chemical exposure. Those nitrates and nitrates are huge. So let's talk about the good stuff, the food that we can control, the food that you can add into your diets, and everyday items that you're going to find at your supermarkets, your local farmers, even things you can grow, which, by the way, we are kicking off our garden. I've gotten some of my seeds. I'm really excited. And I hope you guys invest in your houses, on your back porches, and in your yards to support yourself, because you can grow all of these very easily, especially these rooted vegetables like ginger. So this is basically a knot. There's several knots. This would be considered a knot. But like when I say a knot, I consider this bad boy, this whole round thing, to be a knot. So this is a thing of ginger. This is actually the root. So this is what is in the ground and it's dug up. So the greens come up off the ginger and that's what's up above the surface. But the potency of ginger, and I'm gonna open this up. So ginger, oh, smells so good. Ginger is this beautiful yellow kind of root. And ginger is one of the best lymphatic motivators. So on the herbal side, ginger is fantastic. So if you've got sinus congestion, which is a really common symptom of colds and flus and different viral invasions, ginger is good for clearing out and helping reduce the mucosal burden. And it's motivating of the lymphatic system. So there's a direct connection, friends, to sinus congestion and your lymphatic system. We have lymph nodes all through the face. We have them at the back of the skull. And even when I touch them, I'm so in tune with my lymphatics because I do this all the time. I can easily touch and get sinus drainage. And I've got videos on YouTube. I have a whole playlist where I show you manual drainage techniques for the face. This is really key if you do have any, upper respiratory challenges, allergies. I mean, we're outside all the time. I'm totally having allergy season, but it's minimized because I'm motivating my lymphatic system. And I do that through consuming ginger. Mostly how I like to consume it and recommend it is through a tea, to actually kind of chop it up or shave it up and motivate the tea. So that I really love. Okay, so ginger is number one. If you before your quarantine, before you hunkered down, you didn't have ginger, you can't get it, don't worry. They have ginger tea. And actually, this is one of my favorite teas. The light's a little bright over here. This is a, traditional medicinals is my tea of choice because, again, when we think about toxicity, we want to limit our plastics that we're adding into our diet. Plastic exposure, despite what many of you think, it's in your tea bags. A lot of the main tea brands have plastic. They recycle plastic and they use it in the tea bag. So then you take boiling hot water and you think I'm motivating my lymphatic system, and you use your hot tea, and guess what? You're adding plastic, and that clogs and congests your lymphatic system. So traditional medicinals has a ginger. They have a plain ginger. And then my favorite is the Tulsi ginger tea. Tulsi it's not a lymphatic motivator, but it does help lower the cortisol levels. It lowers the stress levels. Cortisol stress is its own category of lymphatic congestion. I actually saved that for last. So stick with me, friends. We're going to go probably a little bit longer than our normal if I can get through this in the right way. I usually do 2-hour live classes. So I'm condensing all of this quite a bit, but I want to cover the essentials for you so that you can grab and get resources, order them online. But storing ginger, I saw a question, Lara, Betty, what's the best way to store ginger? I store it in my refrigerator to keep it better. It will kind of get moldy if you don't. And I store it in my low humidity drawer. Iani says, I love making a jar of fresh grated ginger with water and drink it throughout the day. So here's the thing to know, because there's the good part of ginger. It gets the lymphatics motivating. With that comes increased urine flow. You're going to be flushing. You're going to be letting your lymph flow. By the way, I have these on sale in my store. So these are really fun. I have a local business that prints these for me. So if you want one, let me know. I think they're like $19. But anyway, your lymph flow will get motivated and you're going to be flushing fluid. That's a good sign. Now, I know a lot of women are like, oh my God, how am I going to, I can't pee all the time. Well, if we're at home, we've got access to our bathrooms. It's a lot easier at home, motivating our lymphatic system and getting it out. But the key thing to note is that if you really kind of have a congested lymphatic system and you start implementing these procedures, one or multiple or all of them, what you're going to get is you're going to get a lot of lymphatic motivation. And don't be surprised if your urine is discolored and has an odor to it. Totally normal. After I have patients who see me in my clinic and I do full lymphatic motivation, and I'll share with you some tools that I use that you can also get at home, because I'm going to open up a training program for folks at home, because there are a lot of you who need your lymphatic therapist and they aren't open. Or if they're in hospitals, those beds, those rooms are going to be taken over because of this situation. So the healthcare crisis will directly impact our lymphedema patients nationally. And I know I'm already hearing reports of it impacting folks in the UK because I work with folks over there virtually. So I really want to give you guys these tools that get you motivated, or get your lymphatics motivated. Okay, so let me take a little quick thing of coffee and let me see. I've got some comments here. Okay, so no limits. I don't know if I'm saying that. No limps. Thank you for having this. I wish I could be a patient of yours. The busy little house. I'm growing turmeric. Excellent segue. Because, and I didn't even realize this. This came in my Sprouts delivery. It says Melissa's turmeric root. How cute is that? I totally didn't even notice that. So I just feel an affinity to this turmeric. But let me show you turmeric, but I say turmeric. Okay, this is beautiful. Look at this gorgeous knot of turmeric. And this one you can really see it's really orange. Isn't it gorgeous? Oh, it smells fantastic. Okay, so here's our herb, our lymphatic motivator number 2, turmeric. This is fantastic for motivating your lymphatic system. It's an anti-inflammatory. And I should note, let me go back to ginger, because these two are really great together. Ginger, by the way, is an antibacterial. So some of the things that we're seeing, the 40, I think it's 46 or 48%, I can check. 40, let me see, I think it was 46% of the cases that had the virus, what they were finding was that digestive challenges came on. I can't find it specifically, but it was in the like mid 40s. Ginger is really good for digestive. Oops. Oh no, it fell on the floor. Ginger is highly, highly beneficial for digestive grievances. It'll calm nausea and it can minimize some of the diarrheal. If there's a pathogen that gets into the digestive process, ginger is a really good astringent. That pathogen won't want to get in it. Okay, it'll eradicate. So turmeric, this is an awesome root. I'm going to open this up so you can see it. Look at that. This is gorgeous. And what I do with both of these, I get out my little like carrot shaver and I'll just shave. You know, I also have one of those things where you kind of do like scraping and you'll grate it. Then other times, depending on my time, I might just chop it up and I boil. I boil both of these, sometimes together, sometimes separate, depends on the situation. But I love this both collectively. You can cook with turmeric. Now, if you're going to cook with turmeric, you want to add a little black pepper. It can help open it up. Also, turmeric really opens up if you put it in a base. So before you do, like, let's say, like I put on my broccoli that I make for our family, I will put a little thing of ghee and then I'll put a little garlic and then I shave my turmeric and I put my turmeric in the ghee and then a little bit of pepper. And I let that kind of do its little thing. The pepper and the ghee are really good delivery methods and it really maximizes it. Now, if you don't do that, doesn't mean that you're not going to get the potency of it. It's just really what they show clinically, those really open it up. Okay, so ginger, turmeric, awesome things for you. I want to show you something that I love. I think I highlighted this in like September, October on the channel. This puka, this is an organic latte. This has turmeric in it. And these are, here, let me just open this up so I can show you. And I'll include all these links after the fact, I promise. It's a powder. See that powder? Oh, and it smells great. It's dehydrated. It has coconut milk. It has inulin, turmeric, ginger, cardamom. I love cardamom. I think that's a really nice pairing for both ginger and turmeric. It has cinnamon, and then it has saffron as well. This is great. So this you could use with an oat milk. You guys saw Monday's video. I highlighted oat milk. They were one of our sponsors. Oat milk is very wonderful as a non-perishable dairy product, but it's really great for motivating the lymphatics in this category. So it's not dairy, but you can get that same dairy consistency. It's so great. Whitney says, hey, Melissa, any plans of doing a video tour of my pantry? Yes, I totally can. People voted and I only got like 4% that wanted it, but I totally will do it. I promise. Maybe I could do a live in my kitchen. Although my kitchen's so dark right now, I really want to wait until we get our whole brand new kitchen. Okay, so for some of you asking some questions, I'm going to address a lot of them as I go through this segment. So don't worry, I'll make sure I answer your questions like Rebecca. Okay, all right, so the other thing that is highly motivating are sea vegetables. And I've gotten a lot of people, I don't know why sea moss is like really right now. I think it's some trend. But the sea vegetables that I really like are dulse and kelp. And many of you know I lived in Japan for a year, and that's a part of the everyday living in Japan. Japan has the lowest rates of lymphedema cases. Part of our lymphatic challenges And this is not just for folks with the diagnosed lymphatic disorders like lymphedema or lipedema, but a lot of us who have thyroid challenges or thyroid disease or thyroid disorders, one of the things that we find is that the lymphatics, the thyroid actually has a big role in playing in our fluid levels and also our edema. So there's thyroid enhanced edema. And I know a lot of cases I've seen that aren't really true lymphedema cases. They get diagnosed as such. But when I run, because as a naturopath, I'm full body, I'll run thyroid panel and boom, it's the thyroid that's the challenge. We can reduce the fluid levels by enhancing iodine-rich foods. And one of my favorites that I love, I forgot to grab it here, so I apologize. Again, my pantry is a little wonky. My spices are in boxes. So my favorite daily use item is, and I'll post this. Let me make a note to myself here to post this link because it is a small company up in Maine, and we'll be supporting our local small businesses through this product. But they have it's a brand that has they're kelp flakes, and it's literally like a salt shaker. It's what I use to flavor anything. Like I don't use salt, and Brian gives me such grief because he's like, it needs salt. I'm like, no, it doesn't. And then here's your kelp, and I'll like put stuff on. But I put the kelp flakes in our scrambled eggs. I will put them, I've even put them in the mommy cookies. Sometimes I will enhance that for Gabriel, but very, very potent. So I love sea vegetables, but mostly kelp and dulse. Those tend to be what I feel like are a lot easier for people to intake. I always go food first. Supplementation, you have to kind of consider like some are extracts and some are not in the full food-based form. So I always go, like nori, that's the seaweed wrap to sushi. They now have nori chips and, seaweed chips and things like that. So I do prefer the food first approach because there are a lot of companies that, like one of the brands that I love, it's an herb farm. I know the quality. I've seen their manufacturing process. I visited them when I was selling their products quite a bit, a decade ago. And, not everybody is as reputable. So just FYI on that. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, let's go into botanicals and homeopathy, because this is what, as a naturopath, I'm all about. And that's why I'm really excited to share with you Moringa. This is our video sponsor today. So our live show has been brought to you by Moringa. This is really exciting. So botanicals, I consider your ginger and your turmeric in the botanical category. But Moringa, and I want to show you, there's a clinical study. So the Central European Journal of Immunology. So this is the data that I pulled. This is one of like 15 different pieces. But there is a chart that identified it was a clinical trial using Moringa. And what they chart out is, the kind of control category who didn't take anything. And then they had certain doses of Moringa and what those doses did to the cellular tissue of the body. And they looked at the lymphatic tissue, the thymus, and the spleen. It's pretty phenomenal that we see Moringa actually enhances the cellular strength and the quantity of cells most abundantly in the spleen, but then also the lymphatics. So if we have, and I have a lot of patients who have impairments from surgery or scar tissue. If you're a breast cancer survivor and you've had a mastectomy, they've taken out anywhere from 20 to 50, sometimes 100 lymph nodes in this whole space. And that is really, really crazy when you think about your lymphatic system has to repair itself. And it does. I mean, I see it all the time. We do far infrared thermal imaging. And so I can see the reconstruction of the lymphatic system, which is pretty phenomenal because it identifies the quality of the work that I do with my patients. It's really, really important if you do have lymphatic impairments. And some people even get this really painful dye test where they will insert a dye like in between the big and the big toe, and then they will scan you and they'll see how does the dye get distributed within the lymphatic system. That's how they identify how functional a lymphatic system is. And I have some patients that they have no functional lymph nodes in the groin, the axillary. So that's why they have fluid retaining in one leg, or they have a flow pattern congestion right here, just below the thoracic space. So this Moringa has been clinically assessed to be very pro-supportive of your immune system. That's what's exciting. I'm going to highlight that way more in detail. I'm going to be throwing up the images of this study so that you can actually see, the different areas of cell mass and even lymph node mass. So it really bolsters and supports the immune system. So if you're not taking Moringa and you've got lymphatic impairment, or you have flow challenges, or you just want to boost your spleen response, your spleen is this beautiful mushroom type, like elephant ear of lymphatic and immune goodness. Like it's the control center for your immune system. We want our spleen to be optimized, and we want it to be optimized to regulate and modulate itself. And one of the things that we're seeing, and I pulled as much as I could on the acute respiratory issues that accompany the virus. What they see for the most part, and this is why secondary and tertiary symptoms are problemsome, particularly autoimmunity and even heart-related challenges. What they see is that the individuals that have major and tragic life-ending situations is their immune system actually gets way too upregulated. And so it's overcharging, and they end up going into, at least the pathology shows that the immune response, there are certain immune cells that are too aggressive. There are greater quantities, and it can cause sepsis. It can cause, pulmonary edema, which is fluid in and around the lungs. That's really important to note, because if you are in the risk category, you want to help down-regulate the right immune cells and up-regulate the right ones. And so that gets really intricate, and that's a whole immunology discussion, and I could do a whole class on that. But I really want to equip you with this information because I think it's important. So many of us know, we all know people, and we might ourselves be risk, we might be candidates in the risk factor category. It's important that you keep yourself aware and utilize resources. Again, we don't have anything proven that treats this. We don't have a lot of data. I mean, we're 2.5, we're almost at 3 months of having this be a situation. That's really, really, really in its major infancy. And so a lot of people want data. We just don't have it. And we also don't always have the medical resources because we're on the front line right now. Moringa safe for ESRD dialysis patients. I haven't seen any studies, but I didn't pull any to that. So I would definitely call your pharmacist and see. But it is the Moringa, it's actually a big tree, and it grows in a lot of tropical communities. Florida, they're everywhere. They're beautiful. They're these really, really pretty trees. Valerie, yes. So Valerie asked, are you saving these? I'm at work and can't finish. Yes. This is a live show. It gets housed on YouTube. You can always come back and play it. I would recommend you sign up for my email list because I send these out to folks who are on my email. And if you haven't, let me know. There's going to be some downloads. I have a free dry skin brushing guide, so I can recommend that as well. Okay, so I want to talk about homeopathy. So we talked about botanicals, Moringa, with its capacity to support the immune cells of the lymphatic system. I want to talk about homeopathy, particularly many of you are current patients or work with me virtually. Lymphstim, which I'll post a link down below. We sell this in my professional store. It is the most productive lymphatic motivator. It's a series of homeopathic lymph movement motivating and regulating homeopathics. I put all my patients on it and they get fluid flushing. So when they do lymphstim and they are doing turmeric and ginger, and they're doing the tea, they're getting a lot of fluid moving. And so it's so wonderful. So welcome to all of you. I just want to take a quick little minute. Welcome to all of you joining who are new. Please give me a thumbs up. For all of you on YouTube, if you're loving this, give me a thumbs up. We've got 200 joining, and on Instagram, this will be a live replay in my stories for just 24 hours. But on YouTube, this lives forever. And so you can watch this and consume all these segments on YouTube. Okay, so lymph stem is my favorite homeopathic motivator. Tea relief gel is another one, or tea relief. Used to be called, what did it used to be called? There was a company, so Heal was one of my homeopathic brands. They actually sold part of the company. Oh, it used to be called Lymphomyosat. They changed the name of it, and now tea relief is the new name. It gets touted as like a muscle pain reliever, but to be honest with you, it's what I use post-surgically for everybody. And I have a whole surgical guide 2 weeks before and 14 weeks after that highlight how to motivate your lymphatics and stay well. So that's something that you can buy online. But tea relief gel is really big. So I'll make sure I include links below for that. Now let's talk about daily DIY. Okay, so I've seen a lot of questions. I'm just gonna go over really specifics here. For like Lizbeth, that would be something that would be, it's not on my list here. I don't want to take up anybody's time covering it, but there is definitely a gut lymphatic connection. I'm not going over that today though. Pat, for instance, lymph nodes were removed from under my right arm when I had mastectomy, have not had any lymphedema, but I rebound daily. Yes, that is fantastic. And anytime anybody has one lymph node that either gets removed or injured, and that could be injured from external injury, internal injury, it could get nicked, it can have scar tissue, or just it's improper in its movement, that puts you in a category of early staging of lymphedema. So that's really big. All right, so the other thing I want to talk about is daily DIY. And this is something that you can do every day. I love to recommend dry skin body brushing. Again, I've got a guide and I'll post that. So make sure you come back to this channel and I'll post that. Dry skin body brushing motivates your lymphatics. It's a way of giving yourself a lymphatic massage. Pumping, a lot of people have pumps or should have pumps if you have lymphedema. Insurance can set you up with those. Those are anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000. Are really expensive, but they are medical. They're medical devices that help move the lymphatics. Also, walking and any type of movement, rebounding is wonderful. We definitely see folks that do really well when they are opening up those valves of the lymphatics, and rebounding, bouncing is very impactful. I actually kept my little yoga ball chair here. It's really hard to kind of see. Let me move it over here. So this yoga ball chair, and you guys can't even see it on Instagram, but this I've highlighted in a video, and I actually have a DIY. If you can't for hip or leg reasons or ankle reasons or weight or age or whatever, you can actually rebound on that ball. It's a stabilized ball and you can bounce, and that also gets things moving. So Anita says, click like button above so YouTube gets it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Please do like this, everybody. It helps the algorithm. YouTube is censoring all the data about the virus and they're demonetizing. So you're going to see me probably reaching out to more of my vendors that I work with and hoping that they'll sponsor this video so that I can bring this to you every day, because it's a lot of time. I spend a lot of time preparing, even though I'm chatting. I spend hours like pulling data and making sure I get all of this right. And, so, and it's my pleasure, but it definitely does help. Okay. So, other daily DIYs, I love to recommend fascia releasing. And I really, really enjoy, fascia releasing for a multitude of reasons, but a lot of folks, particularly with lymphedema, these are two tools that are awesome. And then I showed 2 days ago my what is it called? My foam roller. foam rolling and using these tools are great. And I have video, so I won't go into the tutorial here. I have video content I've shot. I have 450 videos, 430 videos. I have almost 50 on a lymphatic playlist. There's tons of DIYs, so go check that out. So that's really big. Carolyn, I bought your lymph stim and has 20% ethanol. Will that be a problem? No, that's a delivery method because it is homeopathic and it integrates through underneath the tongue. So you do the droppers, like I get the most questions I get about it is the dropper. The bottle is really big. It's a 4-ounce bottle. The dropper is a really long glass and you pull in the only amount of air that's in the little top part. So you only get like a third or a quarter of the dropper. That's a dose. And you put it under your tongue, you hold for about 90 seconds, and then you swallow. It is a sublingual instant integration. Okay, so walking, doing movement, compression therapy. For all of you who are wearing compression therapy, keep wearing it. Wear it as much as you can. There are also ways to wear compression or use compression even without wearing. I've worked with folks that are 600 plus pounds in facilities that have been unable to get up out of bed. I can use all different types of things. We can use pillows to bolster, to support and move fibrotic tissue. So compression therapy is really, really key, as well as kinesio taping. So if you guys are interested in kinesio taping, let me know. And I could do a specific video on that. I probably will have to use like Brian as my kind of model. It's a little bit harder for me to video it and show you, but it is easy to do on your own. And I've taught a lot of folks virtually to do that. Okay, so next up, I want to go into the virus. And again, I can't say this because of censorship, but I want to go into what we know and things to consider as it relates to your lymphatic system. And what I'll probably be doing is pulling this segment out and making it its own video on YouTube, which I can do. So I can like re-edit it. Okay, so there's really kind of 4 things to know when it relates to your lymphatics and a viral respiratory infection. And the role of your lymphatic system with this immense respiratory infection, there has been identification that there is lung damage that occurs. There's actually a buildup of fluid and it ends up leaking out through the small blood vessels. And that poses a challenge in between the space of the lungs and the bony mass of your ribs. It's almost like pleurisy, where I've treated candidates and individuals with pleurisy where they've got so much fluid, it's pushing on the lungs. So we start to see these leaks cause lung damage and therefore a decreased oxygen level intake. There is a secondary factor where we have co-infections. So some of the co-infections are not just pneumonia, but they are the body's response to the infection. What that means is, and I kind of highlighted this before, we're seeing folks that have secondary conditions or puts them in a risk category where the infection itself causes immune system really ramp up. And it's an unmodulated, unregulated immune system that it's supercharged. So it ends up creating dysfunction in other body systems. There has not been, oh, thanks, Melinda Lee. Yay, #1 fan. She gave me a super chat for $9.99. Thank you. Appreciate you. One of the things that we saw in previous cousin-like viral categories, we saw where folks were dying of sepsis and they were dying of co-infections because the immune system was so overwhelmed, but also so ramped up. That dysfunction, they saw kidney damage. They saw kidney dysfunction. Partly there's that golden triangle I highlight, the heart, the kidneys, and the lungs. But it's safe to assume there may be, and I say this may be because I'm making an assumption here. I couldn't find any data. There's really minimal data. We're learning more and more. But it's safe to assume there might be an impact on the lymphatic system. I don't see how there could not be, because we have folks with pulmonary edema pulmonary edema or any edema of any organ or gland impacts the lymphatic system. Just right then and there. There is a lymphatic impact. The kidney damage, it was hypothesized in one of the studies that I read, was that the potential damage might have not been from bacteria, but from a sustained low levels of oxygen. So, low O2 levels where the patients weren't able to get air, and it ended up causing damage to the kidneys. Kidneys play a big role in the fluid transport in the system. Kidneys and lymphatic system go hand in hand. So there's that lymphatic potential involvement. And then also, we do know this has been identified. There is a cytokine storm. It's going to be some bizarre word, but essentially what that means is it's an immune-based storm. Cytokines are a particular type of immunity cell. They're an inflammatory related cell, and an overwhelming amount of them get released, and that becomes problematic, and that's what causes sepsis. This causes organ failure and organ shutdown. It is an intense inflammatory response. So going back to our video sponsor, our Moringa, our friends at Pura Vida, Moringa, we know, is an anti-inflammatory. It's one of the highest ORAC antioxidant values out there. Moringa and chaga are my two favorite high ORAC level herbals. This is really great and could very well be potentially a resource for folks that fall in that category where maybe you have RA or lupus. And I need to let me know if you guys want, let me know, comment down below. Let me know if you want me to do a video about autoimmunity, particularly a flare. Like, I am seeing the stress of our situation flaring patients. I've gotten all these emails and I had a few phone calls with folks. They're in a flare status. I have family members, they're flaring, and it's not even summertime, which would normally cause a flare. So the flare itself is a cytokine response. So you're already stressed, you've got a flare going, and then let's say you get exposure, that's already putting you in a heightened inflammatory state. So here are 4 risk factors that I'm hypothesizing. Okay, so again, this is not founded. I want to communicate that, but it is very safe for us to kind of go into this. Because of the nature of the respiratory impact, any of the candidates that have had mastectomies, radiation over the lung space. Now, this can also be cancer patients, like breast cancer patients, liver cancer patients, pancreatic cancer patients, because there is that lung tissue involvement when that area gets radiated. Also, any type of truncal related lymphedema. I have folks that have, post-surgery, I'm going to scoot back a little bit, post-surgically, in this space right here, they've got like a little bubble. They've got a pocket bubble. That area, I mean, our lungs, like my ribs, this is like the bottom of my ribs right here. The lung occupies this whole space. So you think about like all these different organs and glands, all protected by our ribs. The tissue itself, there's a lot of risk that radiation in and around that space could have on the tissue as it is. So any type of radiation, truncal related lymphedema, surgical lymph removal in really, I'd say from belly button up. So any type of surgery, lymph node removal in that space, that could potentially put you in a heightened risk category. That's all on its own. If you've got an autoimmunity, that's like a whole other thing. Also, axillary related lymph node removal and potentially some inguinal. Those are the lower lymph nodes, but mostly what I'm hypothesizing, just the way of some of the draining, would be axillary and lymphedema of the upper quadrant. So shoot me some questions. Instagram, you guys are going to be going off here and I'm going to bring you back on. Before I do that, I actually have my Instacart. Apparently they're shopping for me at Sprouts, so I have to respond a little bit on my phone, but I'll bring you guys back up. So I'm going to end it and you guys will come back up. Give me 2 minutes. Okay. So, all right, YouTube, I'm going to look at your questions and, wow, we had a lot of people on that. Let me save story. Okay. So let's go in there. Okay. So my Instacarter, this is really exciting. So this is a little side note. My Instacart is shopping for me because I need some items. So they apparently are replacing a lot of items. Let's see, where is it? Oh, it's actually Aldi. Aldi is shopping today. Ooh, Woo! I'm so excited. You guys know I love Aldi. The only bummer of not being able to shop is going to Aldi. Let's see. Okay, so refund that item. Okay, so they are out of a lot of stuff. Okay, so I have to just do this really fast. Sorry. Okay, so, all right, Deanna Nagel, have you done a webinar on sarcoidosis? I have pulmonary sarcoidosis and primary lymphedema. I have not specifically. Generally, my webinars are broad. I don't get specific. That's where I would get, that would be like a consultation with me individually. Oh, thanks, Swift Justice. So I, whenever I do webinars and things for folks, it has to cover the masses. And so really specific like that, I wouldn't do. How can I reach you for a private hello? I would say through Instagram or YouTube. Oh, and by the way, I put out a call out. I want to load this table with letters and notes and cards. So I posted on the community tab the address where you can send it to us. I'm thinking that might be something really fun for Gabriel and I to do together. So if you guys feel so inspired, we will write, like he's starting to write, and I think that'll also help him write a little bit better. So we'll write you back. But I think that'll be really fun too. Gosh, Aldi's out of stock on a lot of stuff. Let's see. Let me get that. Okay. Let's see. Wow, they are out of almost everything I've ordered. It's so frustrating. I am also having my shopper buy me 2 rose plants because unfortunately it looks like I'm not going to Germany to study at the Foldy College for advanced lymphatic training. And so because of that, I said I wasn't going to do any gardening, but now I'm going back on it and I had a few roses that didn't weather the storm of winter very well, but I've added 2 more. So looks like they are still shopping for a lot. See, this is like my list. It's hard to see, but we got bananas. Bananas were a go. I have bananas. I have a little more grass-fed beef and avocados. Okay, so we're getting avocados, and I've got more ground cinnamon coming. And Gabriel wants to do some more baking, and there are all these projects that his school has that I have to stock up on. Okay, so that guy will probably keep shopping. Let me just send them a quick message. Sorry, you guys. I'm so grateful. Okay, so Coffee with My Sunshine says, my mom makes elderberry syrup. Do you recommend taking this at the time? I do. Let me just say, thanks for shopping for us. I do, but I'm not a big fan of it for anybody who has autoimmunity. So I think there are other things like astragalus, and watch yesterday's video. I go into astragalus a lot, way more in detail. All right. So let's get back to our normal programming. Thanks, you guys. I totally forgot I had a shopper doing their thing today. Note to self, I'll make sure I don't do it during our time. Okay, I'm going to queue up Instagram, set them back up. All right. Okay, so Instagram's coming back up. Hello, Instagram. Good morning. Thanks for tuning in. Today is part 2 of our live show where we're talking about your lymphatics and the virus, how to equip your body to stay well and healthy, moving, motivating, and draining your lymphatic system. So welcome all of you. If you're tuning in, give me a thumbs up, comment down below. Let me know where you're watching from. And I'm moving right on into hygiene. So this is a really, really big question I've gotten for all of you wearing compression garments, particularly the gauntlets. So I'm going to put this on myself. So if you are wearing a compression garment that is helping move your lymphatics of your hand, and you might also be wearing a sleeve under this, going all the way up to here, how do you keep your hands clean? Like, you're going to be washing your hands. They're saying, wash your hands, wash your hands. How do you maintain your health, your hygiene? So I have a few tips for you. Let me adjust my little thing here. Sorry, we're a little lopsided. Okay, so hygiene wise, one of the things, oh my God, creepy old pervert's back. Dude, seriously, he's calling me a nasty name. I'm going to report you. I should ban you. I got to figure out how to ban you from my channel. Okay. Okay. So anyway, this glove is really, this is even an easier thing to wear than when folks have this is a gauntlet. They have a glove that goes all the way up here. So there are a lot of tips. You know, not everybody has 10 pairs of these to be wearing. So what I would say, here are a few tips. One, if you're able, oh, thanks, basketball fan. Oh, she gave us a super chat. Appreciate you. One of the things that I recommend is first, if you can, get gloves, because gloves are a lot easier to pull off and throw away. I know it's been harder to find, but I do know, I was looking online, there are some on Amazon. And here's the other thing. You can get cleaning gloves. Like if you can't get, you know, the vinyl or, you know, latex gloves, it's okay. Use gardening gloves. So when you're out and about and you're touching things other people have touched, make sure you're covering fully. That's going to be number one. I ordered, even for Gabriel, gardening gloves. You know, we're gardening a lot, so I needed those anyway, because I'm like, you need gloves, honey. We can't find his little Paw Patrol ones I got last year. But you can have, and this is for also pediatrics, to have a glove on top of that. That minimizes your need to be washing also, but also minimizes the exposure. It is very possible that this glove could pick up respiratory droplets and could transfer. So that's number one, wear glove over your glove or gauntlet. Number two, grab a few extra of these. You know, what I would have is anywhere from 2 to 3 pair. Okay, let me backtrack. I would have 2 to 3 gloves or gauntlets a day. And then you always want to have what we say pair and a spare. So you want to have for today and for tomorrow. Today's are going to be washing. And this particular company, you can wash in hot water and you can dry them. And so these are really easy to wash and clean. But oh my goodness. Let's see. Creepy old perv is really quite annoying. Okay. So one of the things that I think is most important is you want to have several of these. And I've seen folks, professionals, kind of make these recommendations. I don't know if they really kind of understand like how challenging it can be to even, you know, what we say don and doff. Don is to put on, doff is to take off. So most importantly, cover your gloves. And then what you want to do is you'd want to have a clean glove that you could use to doff, to take off. So let's say I have 2 pairs of my, you know, garden gloves or my washing dishes gloves. You take the pair off and put on a new pair and use the new pair. You know, you use one and you remove this. So you minimize that transfer. I know that sounds really crazy, or you could clean or wash your gloves, but you want to make sure you're not having transfer to transfer. But essentially is the key is going to be getting more gauntlet or gloves and then using good hygiene and covering them as best as you can, and then being able to wash your hands. When you can't wash your hands, hand sanitizer is really key. I'm going to give you a tip. It was like I saw it available and I grabbed it, and then it like closed out even before I could send all of you a link. But monitor Office Depot online. I got a refill. Oh, the dogs are going to freak out. I have to give you guys a warning. We have Amazon delivery. You can use sanitizing gel to, they're going to freak out for a little bit. Sorry. You can use sanitizing gel, or you grab sanitizing gel, like the refill. I got 33 ounces from Office Depot. And that's a mega, and it's going to take you a little bit of time to transfer it into your thing. But you know what? They're selling it and they have it. So check out Office Depot and Staples. Those bulk. I even saw they had paper towels. No toilet paper, but they had paper towels. So just FYI on that. But so that hygiene is key. Hygiene of your garments. Okay. Now every brand. This happens to be by Juzo. I know you guys. I work with them. I teach for them. They have in every one of their things a care and application packet. We sell these in my store. We're actually moving to a better store, but If you guys need more and you can't get your lymphatic therapist, let me know and message us. Oh, thanks, Swift Justice. Message us, and I can make sure we can get you your gauntleted gloves. Really easy. I was in communication with Petra, one of the owners, earlier this week. She's like, we're on a skeleton crew, but we're still producing what we need. We have tons, like they have tons and tons of these already pre-made. I've been there. I've seen them doing their work. So we can get you what you need. Don't worry. And they mail it. So if you can't get into your lymphatic therapist, don't fret. I'm here to help. Okay. So we can get that taken care of. Hygiene. Overall, you want to make sure you're also taking care of your skin. One of the challenging things for the lymphedema patient is that your skin, your hydration levels, the oil that gets in your circulation, it's minimized. And so it's not uncommon if you're going to be using a lot of hand sanitizer for your hands to get dry. And the last thing we need for a lymphedema patient is to have cracking of your skin. That's why I recommend wearing gloves over your gauntlets and gloves over your compression gloves, because it saves you from drying out your skin and potentially putting you at risk for an opening. And the last thing we need is to have an opening. When a lymphedema patient has an open wound, it takes a lot longer to heal. It puts a greater burden on your lymphatic system. It can sometimes, for some of my patients, it can turn them into like a cellulitis case overnight. The last thing you want is to be dealing with cellulitis right now. And in some hospitals, you might not even be able to get in and get seen or treated. I can't even believe I'm saying that. So that is a potential reality. So we have to minimize that. Sorry, I'm gonna get really upset here. I got to move on. So, the thing that is really, really key is keeping your hygiene up and wearing gloves, wearing protective gear. For many of you who have sleeves, it's really the arm-related lymphedema that we have the most to discuss. Leg-related lymphedema, you're not going to be dealing with like having to, clean as much, but it's really like your sleeves. You'd want to also, depending on what you're doing, if you're in a job where your arm is touching counters and things like that, you would really want to wash this as well and have a few extras of these. Now, if you're in the category where you have custom made, that's like a whole different thing. Custom made, that could take 10 days. I do know custom made orders. I've been told they're prioritizing them for Juzo. So, again, let me know. I know people there. That's totally not, that's so egocentric. I'm not saying it that way, but literally, like if you have a need and it's urgent, I can make it happen. Okay. So don't worry about that. Okay. Let's see. Doctor reported. Thanks, Peter. I appreciate that. All right. So hygiene was one factor. Now I want to talk to you about at-home tools. There are a whole bunch of at-home tools. A lot of the DIY I talked about is in that earlier piece, but there's an at-home tool that I want to highlight. And I'm going to grab it over here. And this is something I haven't talked to you guys about a lot. It's a tool I use in my practice. And I don't know if you can see this. This is an older version of it, but it's a LymphStar Pro. It is an electric lymphatic promotion tool. And we've got, oh my God. I thought I got you out of here. Okay. All right. Pornography. We've got such a creeper on here. Creepy old pervert is such a nasty old man. He's probably not even an old man. You just never know nowadays. But okay. So this LymphStar Pro is a tool that uses, and there's research. The presentation I was going to make at the Juzo symposium for their lymphatic presentation, I was going to talk a lot about this particular tool. So this is a tool. These are not cheap. And this is one of the original brands that started this tool. But basically, it's a way of motivating the lymphatic system. It emits a frequency. So it's a low-grade laser, low-grade frequency. And it helps to break up the dense proteins that get bonded within the lymphatic system. And there's a certain way of using this tool. I've been trained in lymphatics, manual, and I've also been trained on this, and I've developed my own technique. And so I've had several people message me that they can't get into their lymphatic therapists and they want to know how to do their own work. Well, this is about $4,600. This tool would be a resource. And I sell these to some of my patients. Not everybody buys these. One, because they're really expensive. Two, insurance doesn't always cover that. God forbid, they don't even cover garments, let alone pumps. It's insane. But if it's something that you guys want, it would be, I can get you that. And so I'll post a link down below to purchase that. And it's really easy. It ships out of Colorado. I know they're still producing those. And I have the ability to actually give you the training, and I can do that virtually. So, okay. So Eva Marie B, could you please add the transcript and closed caption for me? I can't understand. Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes, Maria, I totally can. I don't know if, can I reply? No, I can't reply. Let me just reply really fast to Eva. And I didn't even realize that was an option. After this is on YouTube post. Okay, so I just sent her a comment. Okay, so we do have a lot of folks that need closed captioning, and that community, I want to be a resource for you. So yes, we'll have that. Okay, and I talk really fast too. I know that's another thing. It's probably really hard to read my lips when I get really going. Okay, so at home, the electrolymphatic drainage machine is really good. Manual drainage is not uncommon for you, especially if you go in regularly for your own manual drainage, to watch some of my content where I show you how to do manual drainage. The upper respiratory will be really key. If you start to have symptoms where you've got runny nose and sinus congestion, that can really help minimize that. So I want to put that out there as an at-home tool. The next and final thing that I really want to talk to you guys about is stress. Stress in your lymphatics is a whole other topic, but it's important to note that when we are under stress and our body's in the fight or flight mode, and in a pandemic, global pandemic, at home, financial, everything that's swirling right now, we're in fight or flight, all of us. It doesn't matter if you're the most Zen person, we're in fight or flight. And that ends up having greater cortisol production happening within our body. So our adrenal glands produce all sorts of hormones, estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone for men and women, different levels. And it also will produce different chemicals, the neurotransmitter chemicals that keep us happy and balanced. So one of the things that we see, cortisol ends up being the core hormone. For all of you ladies that might be having weird menstrual cycles, or notice in the next 2 months irregularity, skipped or spotty or whatever, it's because of this time. So we're going to see this in 2 or 3 weeks or wherever your cycle comes through. That's really, really important to note. The cortisol on the lymphatic system causes congestion. It actually has been scientifically proven. I pulled a ton of data. I don't even have those reports in front of me, but we do know that cortisol will congest your lymphatic system, and it also increases your inflammation levels. We know inflammation is what we want to reduce if we want to minimize and offset the challenges that you experience if you were to get this infection. And there's a viral invasion, but then there's the infection, and that is the abbreviated name - number that we see. Okay, so stress management, breathing is key. I have a few videos that I've highlighted that really kind of dig into this. Oh, hey, Shannon, thank you so much. It's so good to see you. Okay, so and Shannon's one of my St. Pete patients. So, if you're dealing with Lyme disease or any autoimmunity or any type of inflammatory related disorder, going back to our sponsor, Moringa is really good. The higher ORAC value, like chaga is really wonderful. Moringa are great for lowering the inflammatory levels. There's also a product that if you're in my email thread, and I'll be sure to post, and Shannon, just DM me and I'll shoot you also a message on your cell phone. I have a product called Biocidin, and it's one of my go-tos for any type of pathogenic invader, and Lyme can be both bacterial and pathogenic. And it's really great for it. So let me get rid of, okay. Jesus, this is craziness. We got crazy people on here. Let's see. Sorry, you guys, reading the comments. Creepy old perv is still on. Okay, so, all right. Sleeping is most important as well as increasing your vitamin Bs. I'm a huge fan of liposomal B, as well as B shots, but most of us are not going out and about, or should not be, especially if you have any autoimmunity or any second co-infections, or lymphatic patients as well. Hunkering down is going to be best to minimize your exposure, but also making sure you get out, exercise, be outside, drinking tea, kava tea that I highlighted yesterday. I don't have it close by, but also supporting your adrenal glands. Should we go home or stay put? Are you in Colorado now, Shannon, or are you over in St. Pete? Okay, let's see here. You can put Anita. Oh, okay. I'll have to figure out can I do that? Let's see. Anita, I'm so grateful. Anita, I'll figure out. Let me write this down. Anita, moderator. We got creepy old perv and some other crazy people on here. Let's see. Okay. So vitamin B is crucial, away from my normal life. I know, I get it. So vitamin B is crucial. We burn our Bs through stress. So you want to make sure you're enhancing your B intake, and B is very adrenal supportive. Morning, afternoon, and evening is when you want to take your B. So you want to take that throughout the day. And one of the other things that is, hey, Denise, one of the things that is really helpful is kind of monitoring your urine flow. Sometimes you can notice some parts of the day you have a little bit more clear urine, even though you're taking the same dose of B. And that can be indicative that you have more stress you're dealing with. If you're like us, my stressful time is the morning. I'm juggling, trying to get our show set up, get Gabriel set up. He's got schooling set up. It's crazy. So, and then, too, during the day might be stressful because you're trying to balance kids and work. And so we just really have to take care of ourselves most. Oh no, it's all good, Shannon. Okay. So, all right. Okay. So, Shannon. Oh, you know what? That's so funny. Your handles are really close. Okay. Sorry, you guys. Yeah, Swift Justice is not a troll. I'm so appreciative. He gave us a wonderful live chat, super chat. So thank you. Is using a recumbent exercise bike good for lymphedema? Yes, I do like it, just to motivate the lymphatics. I want to go back to a question earlier. I'm looking at the live chat. We had a question about the vibration tool. I like that. Vibration tools, even folks, do like the crystal EMF type of like beds. I like anything that, one, makes you feel better, reduces your stress. That's always going to benefit your body. It's going to benefit your lymphatics because stress reduces our immune system. And then we have the whole immune response. With cortisol happens, cortisol increases our inflammatory response. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So, and two, if you guys ever have any, specific questions, every day I try and do specific video content regarding a topic. And so we're building another library here of content. And so this happens to be lymphatic related. My last and final note on reducing stress is to use your phone apps, use YouTube, free resources, and do yoga. Yoga is really good. Mindful meditation. Gabriel's school last night did this whole thing for the parents of how to help kids be calm. And I really think mindful meditation, journaling gratitude, and then also lymphatically. One of the things that the lymphatic system, there's a direct lymphatic emotional connection. when we bottle things up and we keep things in, it impacts our lymphatic system. The lymphatic system should be ebbing and flowing like the ocean. And so I love tuning into like the ocean waves for folks. That kind of ebb and flow is really good. If you're by the water and you're able to walk without being near people, the ionization is very good for the lymphatics. But I also really feel like releasing and letting go. The lymphatic mantra is like, I release and I let go and I accept. Like I accept, I release, and I let go. And that is powerful because the lymphatics, we're holding on to something. We hold on to emotions, we're stuffing things. I've worked with a lot of people, and I know sometimes there's like past emotional stuff. Right now, we're going to be dealing with a lot of emotions, and so your lymphatics emotionally will impact that. And we are a physical body. We're an emotional body, and we're a spiritual body, and that directly, all of that connects and corresponds. Okay, so Patsy, I'm letting your email show. Okay, so Team America, don't drink fish tank cleaner. Seriously. Oh God, this is so terrible. So I definitely do agree. Let's listen to our health experts. Let's definitely not take our health into our own hands in terms of trying to be physical experiments. So, all right. I know we're at almost an hour and a half, so I value all of your time. We've had a ton of you on. I'm so grateful. So please give me a thumbs up if you like this video, found it helpful. I promise I'm going to do more video here about the lymphatics. But for all of you who are right now tuning in, I'm going to be reposting, and I'll post on Instagram as well. I have a free lymphatic webinar. I have a whole Let Your Lymph Flow webinar. It's free. I'm going to encourage you to take it because I'll go into answering questions about all the different herbs that I love. So I wanted to cover as much as I could. And it's by no means my traditional 2-hour educational program, but it definitely is something that can be beneficial. So I definitely want you to consider that. Tracy has lymphedema in both feet and ankles. Oh gosh, I would not do any vein surgery. They say the laser hit the lymphatic nodes. Oh, they say it caused it. Oh yeah. I totally believe it. Scarring, you'd want to address some scar tissue. Some proteolytic enzymes can be good for that. Okay, so yes, you guys are all welcome. I'm so grateful. So here's my last and final tip for you. Let's all release, let's all accept and release, and just let life flow. That lets the lymphatics flow. Okay, so don't resist. We are in where we're in this time. We're where we need to be. We don't always know why, and just release. And that, I just want us to let our lymph literally move. And so don't resist, let go, let everything release, and journal. Journaling, mandala crayon books or coloring books, love those. That's a really good way to kind of just release. All right, Shannon, please remind us where to ask you a specific question not related to topic here. I would DM me. I've got to figure out how to work out my schedule. We're still working it out with Brian working, I'm working, and Gabriel doing school to keep up with my shooting and all of this stuff. And we've had to reschedule a ton of patients. So yeah, oh, it's with justice. You're so nice. Thank you. Oh no, sorry. Potential moderator blocked you. I apologize. Okay, so here's the thing. We will get through this. We'll get this all sorted out. I'll get the moderation. I'll work with Anita. We will conquer all of this. So thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Do me a favor for all of you on YouTube. Please give me a thumbs up, share it. When this wraps up, I'm going to really flood the description box with a ton of info. I'll give you links where you can grab Moringa. I talked with them last night. They've got this in stock. They're ready to get that out to all of you because it is very promotive of your immune system, as the data shows. And watch tomorrow's video. They're sponsoring tomorrow's video as well. So I will highlight that specifically so you can see that on screen. And definitely tune in tomorrow, 9 a.m. I'll post the topic content or topic for the show tomorrow. And I got to get back to my Aldi shopping haul. So thanks, everybody. Stay tuned tomorrow. And happy Thursday. Be well and be safe. Stay in. And I'll definitely see you tomorrow. All right, tune in out Instagram. You guys, thank you so much on YouTube. Anita, I'll connect with you. And thank you for all of the super chats, Swift Justice. And I just want to highlight you guys because I'm so grateful of your support and interest in our channel. Basketball fan, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Swift Justice gave us 3. Thank you. So thanks, everybody. I will see you tomorrow. Be well. Let your lymph flow. See you later, and check out the description box for all these details listed and that free lymphatic webinar.